Hi guys, welcome to episode 8 of Noblesse, back with Clockwork and Noodles. Hello and welcome if you are finding me for the first time. Hello, I am a big anime lover. I generally like most things to do with anime. Watch a hell of a lot of it and decided that I really enjoy just talking about it. So that's what I am here to do. This week's episode is Frankenstein / First Contact, and it is our 8th episode, so we are now in line for 4 episodes left of the season of Noblesse. This episode is the aha moment for me, and I feel bad that it's taken 8 episodes, but I am finally getting my aha moment. I'm starting to remember what I watched previously, because people seem to think I haven't watched the 2 prequels. I have watched one, I just don't remember it, because it was a fair bit of time since I've seen it. And it, again, a lot's happened in the year, so I just don't have it in my head. This week's episode, however, has brought a hell of a lot back. I feel a little bad that it has taken up to episode 8 now for me to go, actually, this does make sense. This week's episode really did just put things in a line for me, and I really enjoyed this week's episode. In fact, I am happy to go out on a limb and say this was my favourite episode so far of the season. You guys also know that I am a huge Frankenstein fan, so just kind of pandering the fact that he is in the title, and a lot of this episode does centre around my boy and his history. Absolutely big fan, and I don't dislike him. I don't even care. Nothing can colour me blind on this guy. I absolutely adore the guy. And I have recently started playing the Hero Kantare game. Not a sponsor, but I've recently picked it up, and I was so excited when I noticed that Noblesse has been added to the roster. So you know whose card I'm really going to try and pull out. Let's get on with it whilst I continue spewing about how much I love Frankenstein. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I have my Winter 2021 anime episode coming out very shortly, hopefully within the next 2 weeks, where I will announce my favourite animes of this season, talk about what I plan to watch next season and what will be released in video form. So make sure you guys are subscribed or you might miss that video. Even better, you can join the Discord server where you will get a ping as soon as any video goes up on the channel. I plan to build on the channel a little bit later on and hopefully take it further once we get bigger. We have only recently hit 200, so very baby steps as we go along, so not too much too soon. This week's episode doesn't really waste any time. Gajuto basically arrives at school, so we don't have to wait for him to kind of find anyone. He's there at school immediately, and we do get to see every single noble in the school getting that little ping, knowing that he is there and he's on site. What I want to quickly note about Gajuto's design is the badger beard. I like the badger beard. I am really a big fan of that beard. So Gajuto getting the best beard of the season definitely goes in his direction, where we see him stopped by our free from security. He starts to get quite angry about them being there, where Sierra and Regis appearing, another power, shall we say, they have of them just appearing on the spot in front of him, and introduce him as a clan leader. And this is the episode I think we needed, where a lot of information starts to make sense. My one spoiler, I've only ever had one spoiler for this anime in general, came up this episode, and I will talk about it when it kind of kicks in. But I only ever had one spoiler for this anime, so you guys did pretty good. So I was watching a few other animes last season, and God of High School was just wrecked for me. That was a bit of a kind of a bad crap show, because that got wrecked so badly with people spoiling in the comments. Gajuto is angry at Sierra and Regis for hanging around the ex-union members, I think, as well, the fact that they're humans as well. So they end up getting scolded, where Franken appears, and he is immediately recognised by our clan leader. So the next sequence taking place in, finally, it all making sense now, Lukedonia, I believe is pronounced, which is the nobles country, and we're in the big castle, which I think we've seen in the... we see it in the credits. I think it opens with the castle in the credits. We understand a little bit of more information that Sierra and Regis were informed to go and contact the guy inside the coffin, which is Raz. I put that together. That wasn't really subtle, so quite easy to work that one out. So we also find out that the woman speaking is Razkria, I believe. Probably going to get that wrong. Razkria with an S. We are informed that Raziel, our boy, is a enemy. So they said that he's the one inside the coffin is a traitor who betrays the nobles. She even goes as far as calling him a filthy creature. We do get introduced to his full name, which is Cadiz Etrama de Raziel. The first priority which we're introduced to is apprehending Raz. We do get a little bit more, some new characters starting to be popped up. One of these guys is a guy who comes back a little bit later called Rhaegar. We also see his younger brother, but the relationship between the two doesn't look that great. So he says, you refer to me as clan leader, not so much brother, which kind of seems like the relationship there isn't the greatest. Yeah, it's a quick little moment, but again, we're starting to get some more names, more faces starting to make an appearance. Probably the most important one from this lot is Rhaegar, because he's the one we see at the end. Gajutal ends up staying at Franken's. This is going to lead into probably the most fun part of this episode for me. He starts to ask whether Regis and Sierra are also living with him and the humans. To be fair, I was half expecting Gajutal to attack Raz, only because we had learnt that he was a traitor and they had to apprehend him. So I was quite shocked he didn't, but then again, he does go to try persuade him to go to the capital. He goes over, reconfirming that Raz has been asleep for 800 years. We know that Raz as well, he says that he was aware that people were going to go and find him, so he was expecting him to come for him. We learn from Gajutal that there have been many changes in the time since he's gone to his eternal sleep, as they call it. The eternal sleep is also likened to being the same as death. There's been many changes since the previous lord died, or went to his eternal sleep, as they say. Raz Kriya, the woman we saw from before, is his daughter who took over afterwards, and she is looking for Raz, as he is the traitor who drove the previous lord to his death, which is interesting because we do actually get to see a bit of a meeting between the two in our next segment, which is probably the most important segment of this episode. Raz does ask about the current state of Lukedonia. It turns out that a lot of senior members have gone into their eternal sleeps, and it's left a bit of a gap as the younger clan members have had to kind of fill that role. This is the spoiler that I was told. To be fair, it wasn't a massive spoiler in the sense that I already knew Sierra was a clan leader, and as well, Hero Kantara does have her as a clan leader. Clan leader Sierra. That's also what is mentioned by Frankenstein, is that he knows that she's a clan leader because she possesses the soul weapon. And that's when we see Gajutal asking Raz to return to Lukedonia. And he says you have to go back and defend your innocence. But Raz wants to remain where he is for a little bit longer. But I personally am in favour of him going back just for a change of pace and a change of storyline. Doesn't seem like I'm getting my wish this season. The security guards going out for coffee with Sierra and Regis. We do get to see Silver hanging out nicely with Regis, and there isn't any fights. There is no typical fight with Regis and Silver this episode, which I kind of miss. It kind of feels a bit wrong not having those two squabbling over something. They start to talk about the clan leaders, that there are indeed 13 clan leaders who are all heads of households. See, I'm getting my aha moment. Things are starting to make sense. We find out Gajutal is Regis's grandfather, where Tao even says, I knew it, they look alike. I wrote as a joke, it's the badger beard. And then Tao confirms it and goes, it's the dark streaks in the hair, and he starts to insult it, saying it must be hereditary because it's a really bad fashion statement, where Regis goes in to assault the long hair and the bowl cut. And if you have been watching my coverage of Noblesse since the start, you know that I tore apart Tao's haircut a few episodes ago and even said the bowl cut isn't very fashionable. It's a very odd that he's sporting a bowl cut. He does try to defend it by calling a techno cut. I have never heard of a techno cut. They do say that the most surprising thing to both of them was the fact that Gajutal knows Frankenstein, and they don't know the connection between the two. And they even say, because this surprises the security guards as well, Franken isn't a Noblesse. Regis and Sierra are like, no, well, he's more mysterious than Raz, we're not quite sure. Cutting back to Gajutal, who ends up kind of squaring with Franken a little bit, and he says to him, I still don't trust you after you slaughtered many Noblesse in Lukedonia long ago. Which now kicks off into our dark history, which as soon as I heard that Franken had slaughtered people, I was like, ooh, has my curse finally come back? If you're not aware, I have a curse. If I find myself attracted to an anime character, if I go, oh, I like this character, or I find myself crushing on them a little bit, they tend to be one of two things. One, they die. Two, they're evil. And I was suddenly like, ooh, is my curse coming out? Is Franken a bit of an evil boy? I don't think he is. And obviously we do get a bit of a background and he does explain what he's doing a little bit further down. But at the same time, he's a bit of a bad boy and it does kind of seem to kind of overlap my curse a little bit of him being slightly, let's call him morally grey for now. Franken's history is very interesting and I think I was just begging for something like this to start getting some more information on the characters we had. Problem with the characters and what we've had so far is we've not had a great deal of depth going on, so we don't know a great deal about the characters. Sure, you're expected to remember or know what you watched from the prequels, but it's been a while, so it's nice to kind of have that tiny reminder, and this episode does that, so this is definitely my favourite episode. I have to say that I've got a bit of a soft spot for sleeves like Franken. So Franken is wearing a shirt with these proper nice, like, floaty sleeves, puffy sleeves almost. I am such a sucker for those sleeves. I like it. I just absolutely love Franken in this look. And we can see that he is torturing something called the Central Order of Knights. And these are apparently also nobles. They refer to him as a noble hunter, and they also double down on the fact that he is human. They say he's a human with a lot of power. We get a quick scene with young Raz and Gajutal. Now, not that he looks anything different, obviously this guy doesn't really age, where we see the previous lord, the one who in the future is no longer. We find out that Raz is living alone in an old mansion, and the Lord is trying to persuade him to go and live with him. And it's like, I've got a big room, there's this, and he keeps trying to bribe him with bigger, grander things, where Raz is declining absolutely everything. Can't blame the guy. I think I would probably prefer my own space to living with these guys. They feel a little bit stuffy. It ends with him walking off as the previous Lord says, I'm concerned about you, pay me a visit every now and again. Gajutal has information for our Lord about the noble hunter. Apparently there were survivors from the previous attack. It's interesting to note that there were survivors. I think I drew in more on that. And again, doubling down on the fact that Franken is human. The Lord questions that, is it possible for a human to have powers rivaling the nobles? Nobody kind of understands where he's got his powers from. So they do say it is unknown methods. Interestingly enough, the Lord goes, I want to talk to him, so I'm instructing you to go after him, bring him back, but you cannot kill him. So quite interesting that he's interested to talk to Franken. And the next sequence is just pure awesome. Especially the fight coming up is absolutely pure awesome. Absolutely love it. We've got some more of the knights breaking into Franken's, what I presume is a hideout. And there is a pursuit going on where we see Franken ending up at the edge of a cliff. And it's the laugh, the absolute manic laughter that Franken has before he wipes out these knights on this kind of spit of land. Gajutal arrives to kind of a sea of these nobles kind of on the ground. And the man with him is Rhaegar from before. These are both announced as clan leaders. So there's two clan leaders going after Franken. And they say, you need to come with us. Where it's Rhaegar who takes the initial lead to apprehending Franken and says that it shouldn't take two of the clan leaders to win a battle. Which leads into, this fight was awesome. I really enjoyed seeing this fight between Franken and Rhaegar because it's just electric. It is so fast paced. Rhaegar is really, really quick. Franken destroys half cliff face. We see Rhaegar pulling out his soul weapon because he recognises how skilled Franken is. And I love the fact that he goes, don't be offended. Franken then getting very, very excited, saying that he's not going to waste this opportunity. And he says that he wants to experiment as well. He summons Resonant Dark Spear, which looks like a soul weapon equivalent. So it's very similar. I think Gajutal says it isn't, but it does look like it's supposed to be his equivalent of a soul weapon. Haven't seen him use it so far in the real time kind of Frankenstein. That they may have done that on purpose, just trying to keep it as a bit of a secret for now. Interesting choice there. But I was super excited to see him pull out a weapon. Where one swing of this item, this spear, takes out nearly half of a nearby forest. Franken then starts to kind of give us a bit of his reasoning behind the madness, where he's really angry that the nobles are hunting down humans, which is apparently a shock to Gajutal. We learn earlier that nobles are supposed to protect humans. He gets angry talking about the fact that people abuse something called a blood pact. We do learned from Rhaegar that blood pacts can only really be done if somebody agrees to having their blood manipulated. This kind of thing can't be done on a whim, so they don't just go around doing it willy-nilly. Franken continues to go on saying that there are some nobles who are acting on their own and they are using children, using their powers and using children for their own pleasure and entertainment. There is a bit of a noble cause behind Franken's actions. So it isn't just the case that he's just killing for the sake of killing. He's punishing what he considers to be the bad nobles. And he also wants to prove that humans are not weak. We see that Franken's powers, which is actually OTT, and I like the fact that his powers are purple. It ends up going out of control. So we start to see it taking over his body, and it starts to really backfire where he starts to really lose control, and the power starts to spill almost over, and it forces Gajutal to summon his own soul weapon, where the impact of 2 soul weapons against an out of control Franken, it's literally explosive. The remainder of this cliff just explodes. It's quite bright as well, so it's quite a bright scene, which just ends in the fact that he's apparently escaped and he's trailing blood behind him. We're gone into Raz's manor. It's the fated meeting between the two where he walks in and Raz just turns around, giving him his typical unreadable eyes. And this end sequence is picking up back into this scene where Raz goes, "You're wearing my clothing," and just Franken just going, "I'm so sorry." Absolutely great. And also makes me really want to see Raz wearing that shirt. I'd kill to see him with those cuffs. I love that shirt. That shirt is great. I love it. I really enjoyed this week's episode. I really feel like I've been needing this for quite some time. It acts as a refresher. It also gives us some quite vital information on the nobles and how things run in their world. And we finally get the backstory to Franken and even just Raz as well. So understanding this coffin business, that Raz was the one inside the coffin. We also get to understand that Raz is now considered a traitor amongst his own kind. Things are hopefully going to get quite spicy from now on. Very excited. I think I really needed this week's episode. There were points, especially in the earlier bits, where it was just mainly just school life. I was kind of like, it's okay, but I'm not taken with this anime. I'm slowly finding myself getting more and more invested as the anime goes along. So I think I said off the bat, it's definitely a slow burning anime for me. But I am having a lot of fun and it's starting to pique my interest. So it would be interesting to see if we get a season 2, because I have a feeling I'm going to get really interested into it and it's just going to end. But I'm very worried that it's not going to get a season 2. Like, I'm still waiting for them to announce a season 2 of Tower of God. They haven't done that yet, but I feel like I really need that. Hopefully we get an ending which doesn't do a really bad cliffhanger or something and it's just going to trail off and we're never going to get another adaptation or anything. We have 4 episodes left. The season is going quite quickly now. Cannot wait. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves, staying safe, having fun with the anime season, as it is quite electric this season. It's definitely a season which makes up for how dry this year has been anime-wise. Next season does look to be a little bit quieter. Some of the reviews I plan on doing are actually season 2s. Definitely feels like it's a season of the sequels. Looking forward to that. Cannot wait. So have a good one, guys. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I hope you guys are having fun. Definitely a very interesting episode. We've learned a lot of back history to the characters and I can't wait to see where we go from here. Things are starting to pick up. We're getting some pace going on now. So stay safe, guys. Bye-bye.